Hi, welcome back to another episode of Nobody's Doing It Right, the podcast for those who are uncertain. My name is Kat. I am your host. And for today's episode, we're going to talk about how you need to have more audacity. But before we get into that, of course, if you don't know already, I offer one-to-one calls for anybody who wants to talk about these topics in more detail, who relates to what I say. I'm not a therapist. I'm just somebody who's very passionate about these things. And if you want to pick my brain, you can do that through a one-to-one call, or I offer email guidance as well. And for anybody who doesn't know, I also write. I have a Substack where I write articles regularly. I also have a Q&A podcast over there if you want to become a paid subscriber and ask me specific questions that you want me to answer. You can find all the links below in the show notes. But yeah, let's get into this topic for today because I recorded a video on TikTok a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a week or two ago, about how you need to have more audacity. And it did really well because I think while we talk about audacity, we say like, how dare they have so much audacity? Like, where did they get the audacity from? You know, it almost has a negative connotation to it. I think we have to repurpose it and make it more positive because audacity is a good thing. It's good to have audacity sometimes. Some people can use it for negative purposes, but I think a lot of people can use it for positive purposes as well because audacity means you're willing to just step out and take a risk and do what you want to do despite feeling like you don't deserve it or unworthy of it. And while some people will try to do things that they don't deserve in terms of maybe they haven't done what they needed to do to get to that point and they take it into a negative place, right? They hurt other people in the process, right? So because they don't have the skills or the deep belief that they are capable of something and they end up hurting people in the process, right? That's the territory we don't want to really cross into right now. I'm talking about the positive side, right? Somebody who has the audacity to do something that they are really passionate about, that they are really, they really care about in order to better themselves, to hopefully better other people too. Of course, you can't always know if your intentions will be seen as good or not, right? Until you do it. But I think without having audacity, a lot of the people that we admire or aspire to be like, who have created things that are great art, great books, whatever, we wouldn't be able to experience that had they not had the audacity to push through their, imposter syndrome or self-limiting beliefs and just do it and have that audacity to do it. And something I said in that video is that there are many people out there who have the audacity to do the things that you want to do, who maybe aren't as good at them as you are. And that's the thing that I think you realize when you work in an office space, because you see that there are people there, maybe that have been there for decades, who can't do the things that you do. They might be people who are above you in ranking, who aren't capable of what you're capable of. And yet they have the audacity to feel like they are in this position of power, or to be in this position of power, or to ask for more money, for more status, whatever. And they aren't capable in the way that you are. And you see that. And it kind of reminds you that, oh wow, people have to kind of just fake it to make it. And that you are there holding yourself back, feeling like I can't do this thing because I'm not good enough. I don't have the qualifications. I haven't worked hard enough for this thing. And then there's people out there who have no problem just stepping into that energy and having the audacity to take up the space, right? So it's about reminding yourself that you need to be audacious to be able to get the things you want to get and to experience the kind of life you want to experience, because we only have a finite amount of time on this planet. We do. And I know that's kind of morbid to remind yourself of regularly, but I think it can also be a very beautiful thing, a very positive thing, because it reminds you that life is like a vacation, there's going to be an end to it. So take advantage of it while you can in any way possible. Of course, there are many things in our lives that we cannot control, that are done to us, that happen to us, that we can't get out of doing, all that stuff, of course. There are many things in life, though, that we can control and we aren't taking control of because we are scared to have the audacity to believe that we can do what we want to do. You have to step into that audacity. You have to do it. You have to remind yourself that there are people out there less able than you, less even passionate than you, doing the things that you want to do. It might be people who don't even like this thing, but are doing it because they think, oh, that's a great way for me to make money or whatever. And you're here passionate, loving, like wanting to help and create things and be this kind of impact on the world. And you're not, because you don't have the audacity to believe that you can do it despite not being perfect. right? Or not having all the qualifications or all the knowledge or all the whatever you believe you need to have to be able to do it. You have to step into that. You have to be audacious. You have to not see it as a negative thing. And I know it's hard. I'm not saying that it's easy. I even struggle with this still. But I think it helps to look at Audacity more from a positive perspective, like I said, and also with intention, right? Like, what is the intention behind your Audacity? Because if you don't have a clear intention, it won't drive you in the direction you want to go in, right? I think intention is really, really important. And if you align with an intention that is true for you, it makes it easier to be audacious because you're doing something that's beyond you. It's not just for you, because I know it can feel a little bit egotistical or self-serving to attempt things just for your own satisfaction or your own success. I get it. I know. I'm not saying that it's right to think that way. I think we do need to just give ourselves pleasure for pleasure's sake, right? Or enjoyment for enjoyment's sake. But I understand that it can be difficult to let yourself do that when you feel that way. I think having a clear intention can combat that a bit, because if you have an intention of, you know what, I want to write this book, if we're looking at it from a creative standpoint, I want to write this book because I believe that it'll be really beneficial for people, or it'll make people feel happy, or it'll make someone smile, or whatever. Having that in mind helps to give you the inspiration to be audacious, because you remind yourself that if I don't write this book, then these people won't smile, or they won't be happy, or they won't have a good experience, whatever the intention is for you. It's a good driving force, I think, when we take it out of our own, self-serving behavior or whatever we might believe internally and put it into this more general, broader intention. It can help to allow us to step into that audacity, right? But again, I think you need to get comfortable with the idea of being audacious despite feeling not ready or not capable of it. When I first started my TikTok work, my TikTok videos, whatever, I posted my first video with a deep belief in me for years that I was not a good public speaker, that I could not articulate myself verbally, and I was better at writing. I just believed that for some reason. Maybe because in school, they force you to do public speaking things without actually teaching you how to do it in a way that makes you feel good about yourself. They just throw you into it and just say, talk about this thing. And I think it traumatized me a lot as a kid. It made me very anxious and nervous and didn't make me feel confident because I didn't really care about what I was talking about when I did those public speaking things. So I just convinced myself that I wasn't good at it. Or I had a lot of, social anxiety growing up. And because of that, I felt like I can't articulate myself verbally. I'm not good at being clear with what I want to say and what I think. So when I posted my first TikTok video that was more of me talking rather than like a trend, I think I did some trends before about writing. It was me talking. It was me sharing an idea or a thought about turning 30 and growing up and becoming an adult in a sense, or like, all the beliefs that are tied to the idea of 30 and losing time in your life and whatever. I made that video with the deep, deep belief that I was not good at public speaking, but I did it because I created an intention for myself that was, I want to get more eyes on my creative work because I think I have something that people can benefit from. That was the intention. How can I get more eyes on my creative work? I have to find a platform that there are a lot of eyes on. What platform is that? TikTok. So I kind of neutralized it for myself, and it allowed me to have the audacity to do this thing despite feeling like I was not good at it. I just did it because the intention was more, important or more powerful for me than the fear that I'm not good at this. But of course, lo and behold, I find out that I actually am pretty good at it. I was just holding myself back because of whatever societal expectations or beliefs I had growing up, the trauma of public speaking in school. And the good thing is, the more I did it, the better I got at it. So my audacity became less and less audacious. It wasn't as much audacity anymore because I was actually getting better at it. And I was actually becoming the kind of public speaker, or I was able to articulate myself in a way that I never thought I could before. So I stopped feeling like I was being audacious by posting. It became more my new normal. But you have to kind of start with the audacity. You have to, right? And that is tied to imposter syndrome, which means you have to really fake it till you make it a lot of the time, or at least have an intention that makes you feel like doing this thing is more important than fearing the fact that you're not good at it, or that you're an imposter and you're, tricking people. there's an intention there that you think is worthwhile, and it'll help you test the waters a little bit and see how you feel. And again, I think it is about starting slow as well. Audacity doesn't mean you have to do the craziest thing you can think of, or I don't know, run for president or something like that. You start small. Of course, that'll be very intimidating to go from 0 to 100 like that. But have Audacity with something small, something that you think is lower stakes-ish, but still pushes you, right? Pushes your limits a little bit. Start with that. Show yourself what way in your life you can have Audacity. Right now, today, do something audacious today, whatever that is for you, and build that evidence. Show yourself that you are actually capable of it, that it's actually not that audacious to step into that thing. But you have to let yourself be audacious to show yourself that you can do it. And that's the uncomfortable part. But I think once you do that one audacious thing, you can do more and more and more. And then before you know it, you are just that kind of person. You've just changed that identity for yourself. And now you're not an imposter anymore because you're actually doing the thing. But of course, it starts with having the audacity. So let yourself be more audacious. You have to be more audacious. And I'll also add that you already do have audacity. If you feel like you don't, you already do. Because the fact that you're alive in and of itself is audacious. Like the chances of being a human, like becoming a human and living are so slim. The fact that you're even here means you're audacious. We all have audacity. We're just not stepping into it. And that's the key, right? Reminding yourself that you have to step into it. You have to just do the thing that makes you audacious. Because without the action, it's not there. And again, there are many people who know that they don't know what they're doing and do it anyway. They know it and they do it anyway. And it's important to remind yourself of that, because you deserve to have a life that is enjoyable for you, that lets you live up to your potential and the ideal that you want. But you have to step into the audacity for it. And that's the hardest part. I know. It's so uncomfortable. It's so painful, but that is the key to it. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was insightful for you if you struggle with this. And of course, if you want to talk about this in more detail, you can book a call with me or any of my other services. And I'll be back again soon with another episode.